online lecture. Myself, Bhavya from Gupha Road Municipal Secondary English School. Students, today we will revise the chapter number 6, the for history, that is for empowerment of women and other weaker sections. Now, to start with, what is empowerment, students? You need to understand this term empowerment. Okay, so empowerment is basically when the power, okay, the power is granted, or you can say right, or any kind of power that is granted, or any kind of authority that is given to perform various acts or duties. Okay, so this granting of power, rights, or authority to perform various acts or duties, we will understand in this chapter in regards to women and other weaker sections of our society. Now, the introduction here is women had participated extensively. Now, extensively means in a very large number. Okay, women had participated in a very large number when then there was a struggle for freedom, and they had very important contribution in all fields, whether it be related to education, whether it be related to science, technology, politics, equality, right, or injustice. Women have been contribution. Their fight for any kind of injustice done to them, fight for equality could be seen in all fields in post-independence period. Now, post-independence period means after independence. That is what we will study in this chapter, and also the laws that has been enacted. Enacted means the laws that has been passed for women and other weaker sections of the society. Now, this term women empowerment, it is all about authority, which is, or you can say, or the power, as I told you earlier, that is embarked on women, sharing indistinguishable rights. Okay, this term, when you say women empowerment, this term refers to the liberation, that is the freedom of women from socio-economic restraint, from any kind of restriction, any kind of social and economic restrictions of reliance. Women comprises around 50% of the country's population. Okay, so we have half the population consisting of women, and the bulk of them stays economically dependent on each other without employment. So in this age of feminism, a small portion of women in India are freed and can employ their free will and are permitted to carve out their lives the way they want. Okay, even in 21st century, there are many parts of our country still the women are not allowed to get well educated or are not allowed to work and live the way they want. But there is a considerable division of women in this nation who require optimistic support. A positive support is required for women. In most Indian villages and semi-urban cities, women are still denied even the fundamental means basic education, and they are never authorized to continue higher education despite amassing the understanding required. Now, women are known for delivering multiple roles. Okay, so it's not that women perform only one role; they are multi-talented. They perform different roles effortlessly daily, and thus they are considered as the backbone of the society. Living in a male-dominated societies, women play a wide range of roles, like they are caring mothers, they are loving daughters, they are capable colleagues in their workplace. The best part is that they fit the bill perfectly in every role. Nonetheless, they have also stood as a neglected bunch of society in different parts of the world. In turn, it has resulted in women surviving the brunt of unevenness, means women are facing a lot of problem. They are facing the burden of being unequal, being treated unequally, financial trustworthiness, operation, any kind of ill treatment, any kind of violence is done to women, and the distinct social evils. Now, when we study as per your textbook, the condition of your women in India, in our country, we realize that the roots of several problems they face lie in the mentality of the men. So, students, if we see the condition of women, the root of the problem is basically lies on the problems related to women. It's basically for the mentality of few men. Even in 21st century, we have not been able to get rid of ourselves of this male centered mentality. Male centered mentality means the mentality being dominated by male, giving importance to the gender as male. Now we have an example here of Vinoba Bhave. Okay, you can see the picture also in left hand corner. Now he made a use of women power in the Bhudan movement. Now this Bhudan movement, it was a land reform movement. It was basically started by Acharya Vinoba Bhave in 1951 in Andhra Pradesh. It was basically gifting of land by big landlords to the landless farmers. And this movement aimed at reducing unequal distribution of land among the farmers. And even the villages were gifted the Gramdan by big zamindars. So Vinoba Bhave made use of women power, means many women took part in this movement. And this movement was based on the faith of Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy, which was non-violence. Now the women volunteers, they carried the message, okay, every part of the village of Bhutan to all the parts of the, like gifting of land to parts of India. Now women played a significant role in another example. They also played an important role, you can say, in Telangana peasants' armed struggle. Okay, Telangana's peasants' armed struggle. Now, this movement was an armed revolt of peasants under the leadership of Communist Party against the oppressive landlordism by the autocratic rule of the Nizam of Hyderabad. Now, the suffering of these peasants intensified as they were subjected to increasing number of exploitative taxes were being forced. They were forced to pay taxes and levies, and they were forced to perform forced labor. So women protested against this, okay, and their role was very important to be seen here. You can see in the picture also. And this women power, it challenged the rule of Nizam. Okay, they means the rulers of Hyderabad. Okay, they were the rulers of Hyderabad from 18th to 20th century, and the feudal system which was happening there. As the region became free from bonded labor, where the people were forced to work as a laborers and they were treated as slaves, and because of this movement that was started and women taking part here, the region became free. Women also got freedom from this torment, from this suffering. The next we have is manifestation of women power. Okay, the how women power was shown. Now, women who had to face the brunt means burden of scarcity of supplies and rising prices, gave a show of their strength as an organized entity. As an organized entity, as in 1972. So, under the leadership of socialist leader Mrinal Gore, women in Mumbai participated in demonstration which came to be known as Latne Morcha. Okay, so women had to face a lot of problems. Okay, in the year 1972, there was insufficient supply of different household items. There was a rise in the prices of the commodities. Okay, so there was a socialist leader. Her name was Mrinal Gore. You can see the picture as well in your textbook. Also, it's given and it's been here also in this slide. So Mrinal Gore, she in Mumbai, women participated with her in a demonstration. Okay, you can say act of showing demonstration, act of showing something. All women came together with her, and they did a Lakne Morcha. Okay, which was known as the rolling pin demonstration. Commodities like oil, ghee, rava, maida would become scarce. Scarce means insufficient, just as Diwali was near at hand. Okay, so as Diwali used to approach, the prices of oil, ghee, rava, it used to become insufficient. Okay, uh, less in quantity. Even the kerosene had become very expensive. So came together brandishing. Brandishing means holding their rolling pins, and they took part in the demonstration. Okay. As you can see in the picture also, they all the women in large number, they came together to fight against this injustice that was happening in the society. Okay, and they all were with the rolling pin, the latni, and this movement met with success. It was a great success, and the public, all the people, they got a glimpse to see. Glimpse means to see how the united power of women can work. The next we have is the Chippo movement. Okay, another show of constructive women power was seen during the Chipko movement in 1973. Okay, it was a useful approach of women, useful uh, women power which was shown in this movement in 1973. Now, what was happening? Trees from the forest of the foothills, they were cut down for commercial. Commercial means for business purpose. Trees were being cut down. So we know, everybody knows what is the importance of trees. So it should not happen. So there were leaders like Chandri Prasad Bhatt and Sundarlal Bahuguna. They started a movement to prevent this. Now, women, they followed the strategy. They followed a plan of holding hands. Okay, they all came together and they followed a plan of holding hands together. Okay, encircling the tree to stop the cutting of trees so that nobody could cut the tree. And as this method consisted of protecting the tree by embracing it, the movement came to be known as Chipko movement. Okay, for that reason, this movement, although because of this women holding hands together and circling the tree, the name of the movement also was known as Chipko movement. Now, women took part in large numbers. Women had a big role to play in the agricultural economy of this region. Means to they have because of they prevented the cutting of trees, so the agricultural economy was well. There was a growth, increase in the agricultural economy of the country, so they had a big role to play. Now there were activists. Activist means they a leader who brought about who brings about a political and social change. So we had two of them here, Gaura Devi, who created awareness among the women with the help of Sudesha Devi and Bachani Devi. You can see the picture here. Then the next movement, first we did Latni Mocha, then the Chipko movement, then the next is anti-liquor movement. Okay, liquor, the alcohol, to protest against the selling of alcohol. So in 1992, in Andhra Pradesh, a movement was started against the drinking of alcohol. It received a good response in other states too. When the head of the household dies an untimely death due to addiction to alcohol, the family faces a serious crisis which affects women the most. Okay, so what used to happen because of at a very young age, if the head of the family who's looking at the family, who is responsible for earning, as an earning member of the family, used to die, the whole family had to suffer. Okay, so and that too at a very young age. So the family had a very serious suffering, and it had affected women the most. So due to alcoholism, they had to deal with the extreme sorrow, suffering, and poverty. This movement it got the support of anti-Iraq. Anti-Iraq means to stop on locally produced alcohol movement, which was in Andhra Pradesh again. As a result of a government policy, Iraq, which was a locally produced alcohol, dealers set up a shop in every town and village. Okay, so government passed a policy that this locally produced alcohol, which was known as arak, okay, it could be sold in locally in every shops. So what happened due to this? The poor laboring people, the laborers, okay, they got addicted, habituated to alcohol, and at the same time, a literacy program. Literacy program means a development program where which was done for the development of reading and writing skill in children and adults. So that was being going on in villages of the state. So the Sitama Katha means the story of Sita was narrated as a part of this program. And it was a story about Sita who used to create awareness. Awareness means she used to make the people aware about the ill effects of the consumption of alcohol among the people of the villages. And she wanted to get alcohol banned from the villages. Then there is an incident that happened. In 1992, three youngsters of Dubuganta village of Nellore district in Andhra Pradesh, they drowned in a lake in a state of inebriation. Inebriation means they were in such a state of drunkenness, they had such a intake of alcohol, okay, that they didn't know they are drowning in the lake, okay, and they died. So at this instance, the women of the villages, they came together and they forced the closure of Arak shops. Now the report of this news in the local newspaper had its effects on many other villages. And the movement spread to the entire state, and the government finally they had to adopt a strict policy against the sale of alcohol. Then we move on to International Women's Year. The United Nations is a intergovernmental organization, you can say international organization, which basically aims, the whole chapter you have done in political science also, chapter 4, which basically aims to maintain international peace and security, develop friendly relation among nations, achieve in the cooperation, and be a center of harmonizing the actions of the nation. So the United Nations declared 1975 as the International Women's Year. The three aspects of this program was to bring about peace, development, and equality between men and women. In 1975, the government of India, they constituted means formed one committee, okay, group of commission on the how the status of women is there regarding status of women in our society, in our country. So, and Dr. Fulrenu Guha, okay, she was the chairman of this committee. Now, what work was carried out by this committee? A comprehensive survey means a complete survey, okay, which included everything was conducted on several issues related to women, like how is the social position of women, means how the women are treated, or what is the position given, what is the status of women given in society, their status, the consequence of the constitutional provision made for women, like how there are many laws that is written in the constitution, like equal rights as men, take part in administration of country, no discrimination should be done to women on basis of race, religion, caste, place of birth, equality of opportunity, etc. So are the women getting these rights, and what is the effect of this constitutional provision that is made for women? Even the survey was done on education of women. How many women are illiterate, educated, uneducated, their progress due to education, what are the difficulties which are faced by working women, the position of women with respect to their livelihood, like the way to earn money, okay, their wages, the payment in comparison to men, their salary, the female male ratio means ratio of female to male in population, birth and mortality. Mortality means birth rate of a girl child, and the death rate and the role of women. Now, taking all this into consideration, a statewide conference and means a statewide official meeting for women was held in 1975, which was organized by Stree Mukti Sangharsha Samiti. Okay, now this is an NGO working for empowerment of women to create awareness in society about women's issues, improving the lives of women through education, healthcare, and gender equality. So they organized a conference which was known as Stree Mukti Sangharsh Samiti. The women from all walk of life and region, they participated in it. The Samiti published its manifesto. Manifesto means policy in 1978. The policy of a struggle against discrimination on the basis of gender, caste, and Varna. Varna, the Hindu caste, that is Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, was adopted. This gave rise, so struggle was started against whatever discrimination was done on basis of gender, caste, and Varna. So all these things gave rise to few activities like collection of songs, which was known as Stree Muktichi Lalkari. There was a street play, a drama performed, which was known as Mulgi Zali Ho. It was by Jyoti Mavsekar. It was basically about a girl child is born, okay, and the power of women in Marathi, and a periodical, a magazine, which was known as Prerak Lalkari in Marathi. All these things, it became a mouthpiece. Mouthpiece means voice, okay, and other such programs. In 1977, groups like Stree Mukti Andolan Samiti, now another Samiti which they brought about, they brought together various organizations working in the field of women empowerment. It was established by Saudamini Rao in Pune. Then Bayaja Fortnightly, a magazine, okay, wherein editor was Saudamini Rao again, and as also Stree Uvach Maitrin, Stree Anyay Virodhi Manchin, Manchin, Aurangabad was established. The feminist organization like Mahila Dakshita Samiti in Kolhapur was started, which protested against violence, okay, and to improve women's condition. Then Mahila Hakka in Nasik, okay, it's an NGO for women. Then Nari Prabodhan Manch in Latur, which works for overall development of women, child and youth. All this were formed. All this, you can say, feminist organization came into were established. Then anti-dowry protection committee were formed all over Maharashtra. Means to make give and take of dowry as an illegal act to protect the give and take of dowry. One committee was formed. A conference to protest against the oppression of women, means the ill treatment dealt to women. So for that, a large official meeting was organized in city Dhule. Then Vidya Bal, she's a Marathi editor, Marathi writer editor from Maharashtra. Her periodical named as Nari Samta Manch, okay, and giving Milun Saryajani. It also worked as also the work of Samajwadi Mahila Sabha. Okay, so this Nari Samta Manch, which it's basically they work for giving decision making power. Okay, like poster making workshop on issues of women. Then is also the work of Samajwadi Mahila Sabha, which work for issues like rape, dowry, death, deserted women, and the Krantikari Mahila Sangatan. They were of great help in dealing with the women's issue. The means basically to fight against secondary status of women. Then the employment guarantee scheme, okay, which was a guaranteed employment wherein were employed, were employed of every rural household for 100 days. It was started in Maharashtra. It was basically again to empower women. Then we have another lady. Her name is Pramina Dandwate. Now she established Mahila Dakshita Samiti. Okay. Now this Mahila Dakshita Samiti, again, it was found in Delhi by a few members of women's support group which fought against dowry, okay, dowry death, okay, a female foeticide, domestic violence, any kind of sexual abuse, rape, and any kind of form of violence. Okay. So it was established in Delhi by Pramila Dandwati in 1976. Students, there are many organization, feminist organization committees which are formed, and there are many work done by them and in magazines. So you should remember that. May get it as an objective question. Now, these branches of the Samiti, it came up in the states of Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, and Punjab. Now, the Communist Party is a political party. They established the Akhil Bharatiya Janavadi Mahila Sanghatan, which again is a feminist organization in 1980. Now, efforts were made to start branches of this organization in all parts of our country. So the Sanghatan, they started a struggle against the issues like dowry, female foeticide, which is basically process of finding out the sex of a fetus and undergoing abortion if it's a girl child. And so they fought against it, domestic abuse, like any kind of physical, emotional, sexual abuse done to women. Then research on women's issues was undertaken at various levels. So Women's Studies Center were started. Okay. And the first women's university was started, that is the Srimati Nathibai Damodar Thakurse, SNDT University. Okay, it was founded by Maharshi Donde Keshav Karve in 1916. It was basically cause of women's education. And at Tata Institute of Social Science, located in Mumbai, it is a popular college for education in social science, Masters of Arts in Human Resource Development Studies, Media and Cultural Studies. Even Savitribai Phule Pune University, okay, which has a department and center of offering courses in science, social science, management, law. Then Shivaji University Kolhapur, which is basically a premier institute. You can see the picture images also, premier institute of higher education and research in our country. So all these institutes, also university and institute, they played an important role in critical analysis, means in expressing an opinion and in developing a vision or an image, you can say an idea on women's issues. So we covered the half part of the chapter as a revision student. So we'll look on to the few questions from this part. Now, the first question which you get is to choose the right option and to rewrite the complete answer. So you have to choose the right option from the given options and you have to write the complete sentence, okay, with the answer and then underline the answer as well.
Hello. Bhavya teacher.
Sorry for the interruption, students. So we were
तो
on this.
हमने एक ही पेपर लिए अभी तक 4 पेपर लिए हैं. Attention please, everyone, boys.
So Vidya Bhav contribution is Nari Samta Manch. Then Pramila Dandwate, Mahila Dakshita, Samiti. Then explain the following statements with reason. The evolution of women's liberation movement.
Okay, no issue. ध्यान दो. Okay बेटा. नाम क्या है? अरबाज. Surname?
Mayur sir.
सलमान खान कौन है?
Mayur sir.
अच्छा, नेबर है.
Mayur sir.
जो हम.
Sir.
Yes. Sorry teacher.
The evolution of women's liberation movement, you have to state the reason about it. So the first reason is the United Nations declared 1975 as International Women's Year. In 1975, the government of India constituted the Committee on the Status of Women and appointed Dr. Fulrenu Guha as its chairman. Okay, so a comprehensive survey was done, and on several issues such as social position of women, their status, the consequence, and also education of the women, their percentage, their progress due to education, difficulties faced by working women, position of women with respect to work, livelihood, their wages, the female-male ratio, birth and mortality rate, and role of women. So taking all this into consideration, entire background, a statewide conference for women was held in 1975 by Stree Mukti Sangharsha Samiti, and women from all walks of life and region participated in it. The Samiti published its manifesto, the policy, in 1978. So the policy of struggle against discrimination on the basis of gender, caste, and varna was adopted. In 1977, groups like Stree Mukti Andolan Samiti, established by Saudamini Rao in Bayaja fortnightly, as also Stree Uvaj, Maitrin, and Stree Anyay Varodi Manch in Aurangabad, Mahila Dakshita Samiti in Kolhapur, Mahila Hakka in Nasik, and Nari Prabodhan Manch in Latur were formed. Then Anti-Dowry Protection Committee were formed all over Maharashtra, and a conference to protest against oppression of women was organized in Dhule city. The next is 8th March was declared as International Women's Day. What was the reason? A demonstration was held in New York on 8th March 1857. It was the first demonstration by working women, and its demand were fewer working hours, proper remuneration, provision of crèches. On 8th March 1909, women went on strike for the very same demand. And that is why this day was declared as Women's Struggle Day at Women's Socialist International, a conference held in Denmark. The year 1975 was observed as International Women's Year, and in 1977, 8th March was declared as International Women's Day by a resolution passed in General Assembly of United Nations. Then you have answered in brief. Students, you have to write the answers in points. Okay, it's compulsory to write your answers in point. The first one is to describe the Chippo movement. So it mention all the important relevant points related to Chippo movement, wherein you have to write the show of constructive women power was seen during Chippo movement in 1973. Trees from the forest in the foothill Himalayas were cut down for commercial purpose. Chandri Prasad Bhatt and Sundarlal Bahugana, they started to prevent this movement. So women followed the strategy of holding hands and encircling each tree. So as their method consisted of protecting the tree by embracing it, the movement came to be known as Chippo movement. And women took part in it in a large number. Women had a big role to play in agricultural economy of this region. Gaura Devi, she was the activist who created awareness among the women with the help of Sudesha Devi and Bachani Devi. Then write a note on the manifestation of women power. Now, women had to face the brunt of scarcity of supplies and rising prices, and they gave a show of their strength as an organized entity in 1972. So it was under the leadership of socialist leader Mrinal Gore, women in Mumbai. They participated in demonstration which came to be known as Latni Morcha. What was happening in this? Why was this Latni Morcha started? Because the commodities like oil, ghee, rava, maida would become scarce, less means insufficient, just as Diwali was approaching, and the cost of kerosene to be used for cooking was also becoming very expensive. So women they came together they by showing their rolling pins, the latni, and they took part in demonstration. So this movement it met with a success, and the people or the public they got a glimpse of united power of women. Then there's read the passage and answer the question. This you get it for 4 marks, students. You need to read the whole passage and you have to answer the question. So here there is a timeline of highlights mentioned in the passage. You have to make a timeline like the year and the events. Like 1975, UN declared International Women's Day. Committee on Status of Women was appointed. 1975, Stree Mukti Sangharsha Samiti was organized. 1978, Stree Mukti Sangharsha Samiti published a manifesto. 1977, Stree Mukti Andolan Samiti was established by Saudamani Rao. Next is to state the issues on which survey was conducted by the Committee on the Status of Women. So the Committee on the Status of Women, appointed under the chairmanship of Dr. Fulrenu Hua, they made a comprehensive survey over several issues like social position of women and their status, consequence of the constitutional provision made for women, the education of women and the percentage of educated and uneducated women, the progress due to education, difficulties faced by the working women with regards to their work, livelihood, wages, male-female ratio in population, birth and death rate of women, and the role of women. Then the match the column is basically the organization, the feminist organization established in which part of our country. So it's Nari Prabodhan Manch in Latur, Mahila Dakshita Samiti in Kolhapur, Mahila Hakka in Nasik, Stree Anyay Virodhi Manch in Aurangabad. And another next question is open-ended. You need to name any two women who managed to break the rules or norms of society and came up with icon of women power. So you can mention according to you also. So it's Tessie Thomas, the Missile Women of India. She was the first woman scientist to head a missile project in India. Then Sureka Shankar Yadav, she was the first female train driver in Indian Railway. Then you have answer in detail, okay? Answer in brief only, wherein you have to explain with example how the united strength of women can bring about constructive, like useful changes in various fields. So you need to mention about the manifestation of women power here, the Chippo movement, then the anti-Iraq liquor movement. All three examples should be given here. So you can again you have to answer in points. So the points here are women who have to face the brunt of scarcity of supplies and rising prices gave a show of their strength as an organized entity in 1972. Under the leadership of socialist leader Mrinal Gore, women in Mumbai participated in a demonstration which came to be known as Latni Morcha, the rolling pin demonstration. Commodities like oil, ghee, rava, maida would become scarce just as Diwali was near at hand. Kerosene had become very expensive. Women came together brandishing their rolling pin and they took part in the demonstration. This movement met with a success and the public got a glimpse of united power of women. Another show of constructive women power was seen during Chippo Movement in 1973. Gaura Devi she was the activist who created awareness among the women with the help of Sudesha Devi and Bachani Devi. So in 1992, three youths of Dubganta village of Nellore district in Andhra Pradesh drowned in a lake in a state of inebriation and died. So in this instance, the women of village they came together and they forced the closure of Arak shop. The movement spread to the entire state and the government had to adopt a strict policy against the sale of alcohol. So on 4th September 1987, Roop Kanwar, a married woman, committed sati. She did not do this with her own free will. She was forced to do so. committing sati, glorifying the practice of sati, they were all illegal acts. The women activists and the journalists Meena Menon, Geeta Sheshu, Sujata Anandan, Anuj Ujak, Kalpana Sharma, they investigated the case. And in 1998, the government passed the Sati Prevention Act with very stringent provisions. Then we have explained in detail the anti-liquor movement. Like you can get a short note also on anti-liquor movement. So you have to write about it in points again. In 1992, in Andhra Pradesh, a movement was started against the drinking of alcohol. It received a good response in other states too. What used to happen? The head of the household used to die, an untimely death means at unsuitable time due to addiction to alcohol. The family used to face a lot of serious crisis, which used to affect women the most. So due to alcoholism, they had to deal with extreme sorrow and poverty. So this movement, they got the support of anti-Arak movement in Andhra Pradesh. As a result of a government policy, Arak, which was a locally produced alcohol, dealers set up shop in every town and village. The poor laboring people, they began to get addicted to alcohol. So at the same time, a literacy program was being run in villages of the state, wherein the Sitama Katha, that is Sita story, that was narrated as a part of this program. It was a story about Sita who used to create awareness among the people of village and used to get alcohol to be banned from the village. So in 1992, three youth from Dubganta village of Nellore district in Andhra Pradesh, they drowned in a lake in a state of inebriation and they died. So at this instance, the women of the village, they came together and they forced the closure of Arak shops. So the report of this news in the local newspaper has its effects on many other villages. So the movement spread to the entire state and the government, they have to adopt a strict policy against the sale of alcohol. So students, we have covered today half a part of the revision of this chapter. We hope you would have understood the points that we have covered today. The next lecture on Monday, we will continue the further part of the chapter. So,
Hello.
yes, sir.